Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Thursday, May 14th. And we made new highs yesterday, and we are holding on to the gains. Yeah, no, man, this is nothing but spectacular. Pretty amazing since we had the beginning of the year, the first, well, not quite in January, but February and March was terrible months. That was pretty bumpy ride. And now we are right back up here, extending up towards 7,500. The news we have this morning, we have at 8:30 coming in jobless claims, retail sales, and import-export prices, all coming out at 8:30, few minutes. And I think retail sales is the one to watch there. See how well our consumer is doing. Business inventories at 10. We have a nat gas report at 10:30. So that's what we got on tap right now this morning. Tomorrow we get Empire State and industrial production. That's about it. So not a ton of news tomorrow, but today we get a little bit at 8:30, and of course we all eyes on the China meeting and the deals which are going to be coming out of there, and see if that's going to impact some of those companies which are involved. And there's quite a few big tech companies in there, and if they get good deals with good outcomes, yeah, then we see some positive reaction in the market. But this whole thing is earnings driven. This is not the dot-com boom of the 1999s. These companies which are driving this has earnings, and they have reported earnings, and they are spectacular. So I would say that is our AI trade showing up in earnings, in productivity. Now how far they're going to go, I don't know. This last one was a surprise to me that they finally took out the highs again. I thought they're going to stall at 74 for a bit, but no, what I think doesn't matter much. What the market does is what matters. So, and you always have to keep that in the back of your head. What you think doesn't matter much. It's you can have a game plan. And that's why we have our levels, because we have levels where we start changing our bias, start changing our mind as to what's going on, and so we have it planned out at least, so we can adjust to these changes as the market shows us what it wants to do. So I would stay on the long side. I would look to buy weakness again and against the 74.70s, 74.50s. What is it? 74.55s, 74.45. So these three levels. If this trade below that 45s, I think they're backing off too much. You have these single print G prints on the way up. I think those are important. If they start retracing those, I would not want it to go further down than the 74.45s before I change my bias and take off that long bias. So staying on the long side and being mindful that it can certainly go higher, but eventually we'll get the knockdown. So. And I'm just still it's a very interesting dynamic that we are trading higher level the way we are going into a weekend where most likely going to may see some kinetic action in the Iranian situation, and the market's going to react to that. It's just hard to say if there's going to be a big reaction to the downside or if the market is just going to shrug that off as well, climbing that wall of worries, and it's just kind of skipping hot PPI prints, skipping hot CPI prints, and moving higher. So a grace period for ignoring for bad news, just ignoring it and moving on. So that's where we are. Not going to be very aggressive on the short side, though. Short trades are definitely possible. Just make sure you have to in the upper areas of resistance, and you don't expect big trades out of it. They may be big trades, but if they turn into big trade, it'll happen quickly. In other words, if you're up here, you're running into an upper resistance area, and you're trying to get short for the rotation down. Yeah, great trade location. But since we have a bias to the upside and the market is still in the move out of the middle to the upside, chances are they're going to extend at one point, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of that trade. So even if you get a couple of scalps in, eventually you get stuck in a loser, and just make sure that loser is small. That's the way to deal with it. So favor the long side, look to buy weakness. If you want to try short trades, by all means, just make sure you don't make them big trades. That's a big deal. That's a big thing. So, and as you can see, we are right up here, just going sideways now, drifting. NASDAQ was all the way up to the 29,680. before they start backing off. So on the Nasdaq side of things, looking to buy weakness there as well. They're making even bigger moves. Nasdaq, you can see they had this big retracement scare here from the other day. Now they're back up in upper territory. 30,000. I mean, it doesn't look like they're very far away, and I think they're going to hit it. I think that's where they're heading. So Nasdaq 30,000. I mean, 500 points is not much for Nasdaq when it works like this. So I look to buy weakness right now against they're trading around the 550. So you can look at starting at the 510s, the 475s, 445s, down to this 400s. The single print G's right there. Pay attention to those. If they come out, I will take off the long bias and go back range bound. So a little run up here we had at G period from yesterday. Definitely something to pay attention to. They can retrace that without too much concern, but it's if they start taking out that the 400s, 395 to 400s, these single print Gs, I would take off the long bias and go back range bound. So initially looking to buy weakness 550. Oh, we're talking about 515, 475s, 450s, 400s for rotations back up. They're getting so big, the range is getting so big. So when I move the mouse just a little bit, the numbers change quite a bit. So it just tells you that they on the y-axis there's a lot of range. It's quite a bit of range. So that's where we are. On the way up on the Nasdaq, potentially short against the 630s and the 690s. I think the 630s could be a nice short level, but if they blow through that one, I wouldn't be a lot less aggressive at 690. But around 620, there's definitely some volume there, some interest. But again, it's just an overnight session. That's it. So we don't have a several days of data to lean against there by any means. But that would be the short I would look for. And if they can take that out, I would just not be very aggressive on the short side after that. So again, favor the long side, look to buy weakness for rotations up. We know when to change our bias on the ES, it's below the 74.55. On the Nasdaq, it's going to be below the 29,400s. And that's how we get started. Looking at the bond market, drifting higher. Yields coming down a bit. Okay, we'll take that. So they've been down at the lower edge. They're right down, and you look at capital flow, they're down in that lower edge again. Look at that. And now they're slowly heading back up again. We'll see if they're going to hold this or not. This could be early strength we're looking at right now. Hard to say. But I would look to sell strength for rotations down. And in the bigger picture, if they can retrace past this the 22s and the 29s here, these two areas of resistance, I would be more inclined to think that there may be some legs here. So the 22s and the 26 to 28s here, these two resistance areas, if they can trade up above them, I think we may have a shot at continuation back up towards the 113 and 114s. But right now, I'm looking at this as early strength, and I'm looking for short setups against that. So they already took it out to 112.16s. So let's see if 22 or the 26, 27 is going to hold or not. And as I said, if they keep going, and then you can shift in from the long side. But it looks to me like we had a pretty straight shot up here in the overnight, not too much back and forth. So we may have a little bit of room on the upside here. So that's how we get started on the bonds. Looking to sell strength, watch that upper level at the 26s for rotations back down. If that comes out, shift your bias and take off the short bias, going back more range bound. And you can see here up on the reversal chart, straight up, every 4 ticks it reverses on this one here. So you can see that it's been trading higher pretty much for quite a while now, without since 7 in the morning. So they've been trading up quite a bit here without a lot of range to the upside or a lot of retracement. So On the crypto side, and I haven't done much on the cryptos. As I said yesterday, I'm researching an interesting issue I ran across yesterday. But so far, the cryptos, oil is backing off a little bit below 100. That's an interesting dynamic. So uh, if oil stays, if they back off a bit, I would say that oil is going to stay pretty volatile. So I probably favor the long side, but it's very sensitive to headlines. So it can drop quite a bit on a headline and then reverse right back up again. So you just have to trade oil with a bit of caution. Silver and gold, like you see, just flopping around, and not much going on there. But oil looks like they're heading lower. So I would take that, maybe look for a retracement trade there for a little bit, but it's in the bigger picture. Capital flow on that guy. As you can see, we're taking out this area, the 100, 160s, retracing down, probably heading down towards this attractor at the 98, 99 here, maybe lower. So we'll see if they got a little bit of room to the downside here, but as I said, oil, very sensitive to headlines coming out of the Middle East, so trade that with a little bit of caution. All right, back to the ES and the NASDAQ. And that's kind of where we left them. Look at ES, is right up at a high, 74.95. I think they're going to hit 7,500 this morning. I promise you, they're going to be up there. And then NASDAQ, they are shooting for 30,000. So I don't think we're done with this rally just yet. Alrighty, guys. So that's how we get started. Fairly straightforward this morning. And then let's see how it develops. Alrighty, guys. I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update. Good trading, and I'll see you then.